Ahoy, ladies and gentlemen, how are you doing? Crikey, I was late there. I've just sped all the way back from Santa Barbara and made it with about 2 minutes. I literally got in the house 2 minutes ago, so I apologise for the slight delay. Huzzah! Welcome to the BBC Spews Live. It is the 24th of August, isn't it? Yeah, there we go. It's kind of confusing because Americans insist on doing the date the wrong way round. Who's in? Paras are best. What a load of bollocks that is. Kirky, now then. Sadwings is in, modding. Cheers, mate. We ride at 5 minutes. No need for that. I'm here. Ragnar, now then. Too many dizzy waters yesterday, definitely. Yeah, I was leathered. Don't even remember getting back to the hotel. Bongo Pongo, now then. Girthquake, Captain Nut, Karen Megson, Andrew Roswell, Mike Hancock, Neil Young, now then. Pylord, Mr. Maximum, and everybody else who's important, who actually signs up for the club because YouTube don't give me any money because of wankers. So at least you guys pitch in and that helps. Let me find some news. The Notting Hill Carnival is what I want to talk about today. We were driving back and my mate James is here and he was telling me, oh yeah, the Notting Hill Carnival's on. And he was a copper. I can tell you that, right? Because he's my secret source. But yeah, I can give you his surname. So he's all right, Jim. And he was telling me about when the Notting Hill Carnival was on and they used to police it. And he said it was just fucking chaos, like chaos the whole time. If you're foreign and you don't know what the Notting Hill Carnival is, essentially it's supposed to be... Actually, shall I just read you the BBC? Let's share this page and that'll interest you. There we are. Can we see that? Yeah, hang on. There we go. That'll do, won't it? So, Notting Hill Carnival. Hang on, I'm proper dehydrated. Right, that'll sort me out. Notting Hill Carnival, what's it all about? Well, I'll tell you what it's all about. It's about getting fingered by a bloke called Leroy. Essentially, it's supposed to be a celebration of Caribbean culture. And it went sort of viral a few years ago because there was a viral video of a policewoman minding her own business, getting, I put politely, dry humped by a large Jamaican gentleman. And he grabbed her and he was proper going, like thrusting up against her. And the coppers didn't do anything about it. Try and do that when you're a ginger from Aberdeen or you look like me and you definitely get 10 years. But if you're a swarthy foreign persuasion type, it's perfectly acceptable to dry Roger a policewoman while she's trying to be about a business. So I will segue into this, right? The fact that it's even a discussion, two-tier policing, after the last fortnight, staggers me. It staggers me. Like, the mainstream media in Silicon Valley have got such a stranglehold on the general public that they think they can just tell you up is down, left is right, the sky is green, the grass is blue. Like, they just outright lie to the faces of the general public. And 50% of people just accept it. There's a lass in the bar of drinking in Santa Barbara, an English pub called The Press Room. It's a good boozer. And the lass who works in there is sound as a pound, get on really well with her. And this is one thing that I'm trying to do for society, right? Is reintroduce the idea of it being acceptable to disagree with people politely on politics. Because I do not shy away from supporting Trump when I'm talking to people. But I'm always as reasonable as I can be I'm desperately trying to convince people to take us back to the sanity of the sort of 1990s and the noughties where if you disagreed on politics, it was just a thing. Being from Borough, massive amounts of my mates are dyed-in-the-wool Labour voters. Like, one of my best pals, John Whittaker. Bless him. He's a fucking idiot. Good friend of mine. John, I hope you're watching, you absolute plank. And he's a dyed-in-the-wool Labour voter. He loves them. And we used to go on the piss and have the most robust debates about politics in the pub. And at the end of it, we just say, yeah, you're just a thick twat, aren't you? You haven't got a Scooby-Doo, what's going on? And we'd laugh, and then that's it. And then we'd talk about the football or whatever. And I think it's so weird how the world's gone crazy now, where you can't disagree without people hating you. English Realist's in now then. English Realist's a member, so he gets a shout out because he's important. How are you doing? I'm glad you finally caught alive. So anyway, in this boozy yesterday, the last was like, oh, Trump's a dictator. And I went, listen. I was like, we get on, don't we? Like, normal bloke. I was like, you do know I'm a Trump supporter, right? And she was like, it never crossed my mind. How are you a Trump supporter? And I was like, why am I not? And she was like, because you're like reasonable. And I went, yeah, but all the Trump supporters are. It genuinely does piss me off. I was telling my mate Jim on the drive back here, I never use the term offensive because I hate the word. I hate the word offensive. The way people are just like, oh, I'm offended. So I never use it. If something annoys me, I just say, yeah, it pisses me off. But I am, if I'm being candid, it offends me the way that the chattering classes have co-opted working class people. Working class people in America support Trump. Working class people in Middlesbrough and Hartlepool and Sunderland and Newcastle are right wing. The right wingers are as a motherfucker. The very, very, very right wing. If you ask your average scaffolder what he thinks they should do with a kiddie fiddler, what do you think he's going to say? And it annoys me so much because they presume to speak for us, these like insufferably smug, posh, middle-class wankers. Talk as if they represent the working class. Laurie Penny, one of the best rants I've ever seen. I hope you all know who Laurie Penny is, because I hate Laurie Penny. She's this insufferable, posh, proper posh. Like, she went to a school that's like 20 grand a year to attend. Insufferably smug. In fact, I'll look her up, just in case anyone doesn't know who she is. Here we are, Laurie Penny. Oh, here it is, when David Starkey had a go at her. So listen to how insufferably posh she is. Let me just put the screen on. Here. Watch this for a bit and listen how posh she is, and then I can have a drink.
If you ask a pupil at Wellington College, growing up in these lovely surroundings, they'll tell you probably about the excellent teaching here, but they will also tell you about grime and dubstep and whatever it is they're listening to. If you ask me, and I've actually recently been living in America for a while, so I get asked this question quite a lot. And I bring up things like the taste of fish and chips on Brighton Beach and Doctor Who and drinking tea. That's what it is for me. If you ask some...
All right, so that's enough of that. I can't be done with the voice. He's like, oh, yes. Yes, to me, it's Doctor Who and drinking tea and going to Brighton Beach. You are an insufferably smug, know-nothing, thick as whale spunk, middle-class arsehole, and she gets invited on the BBC to represent the working classes. Like they ask her what scaffolders from Hartlepool think. Oh, yes, and Doctor Who, thick as whale spunk. She is as thick as a lumberjack sandwich, right? And they get her on the BBC and she tells them what working class people think. It does my head in. Almost every working class bloke in Britain is proper right wing. All of them. You never meet a Geordie plumber who goes, oh, yes, well, I think if, somebody happens to have a problem whereby they presume to have a sexual relationship with a minor, it's not their fault, it's clearly some form of mental problem, so we should send them on a short course and then have them employed at the local primary school so they can help society. They don't say that. They go, well, I think you should kill him with a brick, like. That's what they think. So... I'm sick and tired of it. And as I said, I'll never use the term offended but it massively, massively pisses me off. The entire world, working class, so basically it's 70% of society, is proper right wing. They think, kill a nonce with a brick, happy days. They think, don't let anybody in who's not legal, have a rigorous process for immigration, rigorous background checks, make sure they haven't got any criminal behaviour, make sure they've got some skills that we need in the United Kingdom. Everyone thinks this way. But let me reel them off. The chattering classes is, but we'll do them by political persuasion. And I'm not biased. If they're right wing and pro Trump, I'll tell you. So the only thing I can think of that's pro Trump in the whole digital and terrestrial sphere is Fox News. In the United Kingdom, woke, Laurie Penny drivel that nobody agrees with represents Channel 4, woke, BBC, woke, Sky News, woke, Daily Mirror, woke, Guardian, woke, Independent, woke, BBC Radio 4, every radio station, woke, LBC, woke, woke. Everything is woke. So you wonder why people are getting angry. It's because they haven't got a voice. We haven't got a voice. Nobody, white, yeah. Nobody represents us. Nobody. And as I keep telling you, right, if you don't get represented, what's the point in democracy? What's the point in it? People like Tony Romo tell you this. I tell you this. And we're trying to help you. We're like the canary in the coal mine. The only reason we stopped lining up on a big field and bayoneting each other and stabbing each other in the head with spears is because we come up with a better system. And the better system was, instead of just making a tribe and having extreme violence, we'll have this system where you feel as if you're represented by someone. And every 4 or 5 years, you have a vote. And it might suck when you lose, but you can suck it up because it's a pendulum. And if you just wait a few years, then you'll get someone in who will represent you. And then so you can suck it up when you lose. If they carry on with the state of affairs that they've got now, where you and I are not represented at all by anyone, why should we accept democracy? Because I'm sick of hearing the word out here. They stomp on your rights and they go, democracy, but protect our democracy. Do you know how we protect democracy? We're going to protect democracy by making sure that you're not allowed to vote for the person you like. Democracy. That's not democracy. That's you stomping with the iron-shod boots on the throat of hundreds of millions of people in America who, like Donald Trump, think we should be aggressive with the borders, think we should lock up nonces for 25 years hard labour, normal stuff. Think that if you don't work for a living and you don't pay tax and you're a parasite, you're like a leech attacked to my ball sack, which is basically almost every single, well, I can't say every, I believe it's about 80% of the Somalian community in the United Kingdom. Right? So I'm sure I'm in the clear because I'm only using like logical, factual, accurate statistics. About 80% of them live on social housing in the United Kingdom. So you go to work 40 hours a week and pay taxes. So hundreds of thousands of random waifs and strays from one of the worst countries in the world, Captain Phillips, you do not look at me. You work your ass off. So 80% of them, and again, I'm not a collectivist. So I'm not saying all of them. I'm sure 1 in 5 are sound. 1 in 5 are sound. Nice people, work hard, look after the kids. If I met them in the pub, and this is another thing that I keep telling you, now I'm going to rant about this. The real thing that angers me about the whole racism thing is that it's us that integrate them. It's us. Because poor working class migrants don't live in £3 million houses. The same street. Have you seen that? They all live on the same street near London. It's like Andy Murray and Lawrence Delalio. They live on the same street, and it's James O'Brien and Philip Schofield. They're all in the same street. They don't get scruffy, poor, broke deadbeats from India. We do, and we integrate them. The people that Laurie Penny, who represent the working class apparently, smear and slur and call fascists, are the ones who integrate Indians and Pakistani. My best mate in primary school was Indian because they ditched him in Middlesbrough. You don't get sent to the leafy shires when you're a scruffy twat from the subcontinent. They send them to Middlesbrough. That's a quote. And my dad told me when we invaded Iraq, he went, "Oh, we'll get all them." And I laughed. Let me Google this because I know for a fact it's on the BBC. Yeah, look at this. So people think I make this shit up. Look, hang on. Let me share this. Even the BBC covers it. Why does Middlesbrough have the most asylum seekers? Well, I'll tell you why. Because insufferably smug, posh, middle-class arseholes don't live in Middlesbrough. That's why. We are the ones who integrate the poor, scruffy twats. So don't you tell me that I'm the bigoted person. You self-segregate in proper posh houses, nowhere near any of them. And then you go, "Oh yeah, you know who's racist? The blokes who live with them all." We do it. And these shitbags smear us all the time. Middlesbrough has the most asylum seekers, not Surrey or Hampshire. So these arseholes have a pop. Surely that's bollocks, innit? The transport bridge hasn't gone. I'm not having that. I haven't been back for 18 months. There's no way the transport bridge has gone. In fact, it definitely hasn't, because I remember reading about a bloke who got bummed underneath it. Oh, it's not been operational. Yeah, but it's still there. Yeah, still there, look. The fantastic transporter bridge. There you go. How good's that? It's us. We integrate these people. So it does me head in. It proper does me head in. How dare they? How dare they smear us? So back to what I was talking about. Let's go back to... I'm ranting because I'm on one, but we'll get to the Notting Hill Carnival eventually. So we integrate them. We house them. We pay for them. They're all tax exiles. They all pay tax in Monaco, do what Jimmy Carr does. Although, to be fair, considering we spend our money on absolute shite, you can't really slag Jimmy Carr off for it, can you? We look after them, and we get smeared by the worst people imaginable. So it's total nonsense. Laurie Penny, she can suck my festering left one. They don't represent us. We aren't represented. And as I keep saying, who got bumped? A bloke, I swear I'm not making this up right. When I was about 15, I read on the BBC or something that a bloke got bummed by some random African fella. And me and my cousin Lee were going down the shops, and as we were leaving, my uncle Ian was washing the car on the drive, and I went, "Oh, we're off." He said, "Watch what you're doing." And I went, hopefully we don't get bummed by a big bent by a big bent black fella. And he laughed and went, "Bummed?" And I went, "Yeah, it was on the news." I said, a dude got raped by a bloke, and he went, he wouldn't have it. He was like, "Shut up." And I was like, "I'm telling you, in London, some bloke got porked by a big African fella, and he wouldn't have it." So I had to show him the story. Now it happens in Borough, and this is like, if there is no better way of displaying the morass we fell into, it's that, because back in the 1990s, it was so weird and mental to say a bloke got rogered by a geezer that when I said it to my Uncle Ian, he didn't believe it. He thought I was taking the piss. And here it is. I found it. Here we are. Look. I'm bouncing all over the place today, but I'm on one. Look at that. So, Teesside Nature Reserve. This fella, Michael Tewelde. How can I put it without saying the R word that YouTube doesn't like. He got surprise sexed by this fella. So imagine that. Walking your dog, donkeyed one into you. He got a Subway sandwich horsed up his shit box while he was out walking. And in the 90s, it was so rare and so weird. When I told my uncle and I read it on the BBC, he thought I was lying. He thought it was fictional. And yeah, this actually happened. Michael Tewelde bounced on a bloke's shit locker in Maze Park near the River Tees in April 2021. Cleveland police described it as a distressing case, but praised the bravery of the... What a fanny. That's not brave. I'm all man, me. If Michael bounced on my rusty sheriff's badge, I'd still go to work the next day. I'd be at work and I'd be like, all right, lads, not going to believe what happened to me yesterday. To me, stoicism is everything. So I'd definitely go to work if some bloke caved my clay pipe in. I'd definitely go to work. I'd be like, hey, lads. I'd be there, like, you know, stood next to the water cooler having a cup of tea. I'd be like, hey, lads, you're not going to believe what happened to me yesterday. Oh, what happened to you? Oh, big African bounced on me shit box. Really? Yeah, bit of a shit day, like, yeah. Left a snail trail up my street. It's, yeah, so what a fanny. Bravery. Pfft. Real men stoically deal with getting ragged senseless. Oh yeah, Sadwings, to let you know. The Transporter Bridge. Yeah, Sadwings asked. Transporter Bridge is it's a big deal to people from Middlesbrough because they're quite rare. Here it is. It's the Tees Transporter Bridge. There it is. It's class in it. It looks mint. They light it up on a night and it's dead good. It's a grade 2 listed and the longest transporter in the world. They're mega rare. I think there's only about 3 in the world, isn't there? Let's have a look. How many is there? The concept was invented in 1873 by an engine works manager in Hartlepool, and he presented his idea to councils in Hartlepool, Borough and Glasgow. So there's only a few in the world. There's not many. And they invented them in the northeast of England, so we're all sort of like proud of our iconic skyline, even though it's a bit shit. And it doesn't work very good. So that's what a transporter bridge is. Sadwings. And yeah, the one in Middlesbrough is quite pretty and easy on the eye. It's a big daft blue bridge. And you go up on one side and then it takes you across to the other. I remember going on it with my mum when I was a bairn, but to be honest, I haven't been on it for 30 years. And apparently it's not working anymore. Anyway, so question answered. So there we go. We've bounced all over the shop today. We've bounced around almost as much as Michael Umbundu bounced around on a dog walker's fucking clay pipe. So yeah, we bounced around a lot today. Not quite as much as Michael Undum Wendy, but we bounced around a lot. So there you go. Your hoop. Call it your hoop in the car, yeah. Poke it up your hoop. I like dirt box more than hoop. But yeah, so that's brilliant. Now it's common. Anyway, before I talk about the Notting Hill, let me just sum up what I was ranting about for the last 25 minutes. To sum up, we look after the immigrants. We interact with them. We pay all the taxes. We do all the work. We die in all the wars. We are the meat and veg and backbone of the nation. And we aren't represented. So my question to you is, why should we put up with it? Why should we not be advocates of direct action? Let's just say that. If we aren't represented. Because I'm seriously asking you this question. Are we represented? Do you feel represented by the people in Parliament? If you're American, do you feel represented by Nancy Pelosi and Gavin Newsom and Kamala nosh your granddad off to get a seat on the table, Harris? That's pretty working class, to be fair. But so, do you feel represented by these people? Because I don't. If he had a German Shepherd, that would never have happened. Get a big dog to keep the chair. Yeah. Get a big racist dog. So, yeah. Why should we put up with it? Like I keep saying, why should we put up with it? We're not represented. So can you blame the general public for getting chewy? Like, to me, I'm amazed that the system still works and there isn't more violence. Again, I'm not advocating it because I can't. But what I'm telling you is, trying to be the canary in the coal mine for the ruling classes, we are not represented. The average bloke feels and thinks like me. They don't think like Laurie Penny. They don't think like Owen Jones. Owen Jones represents about 7% of the country that are woke and middle class and upper class. Plumbers and scaffolders and taxi drivers and window cleaners and bricklayers think like me. And we aren't represented. So I'm just asking the question, why shouldn't we be very, very angry and very, very aggressive? We aren't getting represented. And if it gets to the point where you don't feel represented at all, why do you put up with it? Why don't you get aggressive and violent? Why? Like, the whole reason that the system started working this way, because as you know, if you read history, that's what used to happen. You used to line up on a big field and have a massive dust-up, and the winner got to be in charge. That's how it used to work. And we only signed up for the current system because we tolerated not being in charge for a few years, safe in the knowledge that at least if you tolerate it for a bit, then you get to be in charge for a bit. If we're not represented at all, why should we not get aggressive? At this point, I'd take my chances. If we had the choice, if Owen Jones could say, right, we're going to get like 2,000 or 3,000 of our lads, and we'll get 2,000 or 3,000 of your lads, and we'll meet on a car park, and we'll just have a massive dust-up, and whoever loses the least people at the end, they get to be in charge. I'd take that offer. Like, I can't advocate it, but at this point, I'd take that offer. Because we're not represented. We just aren't. I'll be in charge. Let's have a massive dust-up, and at the end of it, if we're still standing, I'll be in charge. Easy that, innit? Gareth H, thanks for £2. Would you take up Putin's offer of moving to Russia? Yeah, to answer that question. If I was single, and I wasn't lucky enough to be in the United States, I would definitely try it. How bad can it be? The worst case scenario, they'll probably lock you up for a bit, but they seem to have better rule of law than we do. I'd go, me. I'd actually go. I'm not saying it's going to be hoofing. Maybe it won't be, but I'd definitely try it. I would. Because England's so bad now. I don't see how you're going to... It's worth a risk. If it gets really bad, it's worth a risk. It's worth taking a chance. I'd go. I would. I'd go somewhere out in the sticks. Like, I think I looked it up. Is it Osik in the middle of nowhere? Let me have a look. What was the city? I was actually looking at it because I thought, if I can talk my missus into it, I might go. But America's way better than Omsk. That's the place I was looking at. Omsk, in the Irtysh River in Siberia. I was actually thinking of going there because I think if I was still in England, I'd go. I think it's proper bad. So I mean, yeah. To answer that, I would. If I was single, I'd go. America, like I keep telling you lot, I don't want to sound like one of them chippy, annoying, arsehole expats who loves to gob off about how much better it is where he is. But at least in America, you have got the rule of law. I was talking about this last night with my mate Jim. Like, Santa Barbara is immaculate. Because if you take the piss around there, so I mean, even this annoys me because it's the middle class arseholes look after themselves. The Angry Bootneck. They look after themselves in Santa Barbara. It's all posh. They take you down hard if you engage in criminality. There's no crime. There's no endemic grooming gangs in Santa Barbara. None. Because they don't piss about. They have the rule of law in America that they don't have in the United Kingdom. Yeah, exactly, Sharon. They don't. So I'm not trying to be one of them chippy arseholes who lives abroad and goes on about how much better it is where he is. But at least they have the rule of law in America. Even in the liberal cities, like, the coppers still don't piss about. In England, there's no rule of law. How many times have I ranted about it? They literally rogered children for decades and the government and the police helped cover it up. I told you, I read Easy Meat by Peter McLaughlin. It's unbelievable. Unbelievable. There's a bit in that book, right? I'll try to keep my sense of humour, but this gets me raged. Where a copper pulls up in a car park and there's a 12 or 13-year-old girl gobbling a Joe Dacky in the car park, right? And the copper sees it, goes over and taps on the window, and then at this point he notices that the bloke is a regular at Allen's legendary snack bar, and he goes, what's happening here? And the bloke goes, she's shocking me off, mate. And him and his mate laugh, and the copper just shakes his head, gets back in the car and drives off. That is a true story. So the British police literally catch children gobbling off swarthy foreign gentlemen and do zero about it. Just walk off. If you got caught doing that, you'd be in the cell that night and you'd be getting prosecuted for aggressive noncery the same day. But when they caught them doing it and they didn't do anything about it, they were complicit, exactly. They weren't just complicit, they were helping them. They were helping them do it. The police, the British government, the College of Policing, ministers, MPs, the House of Lords, the Prime Minister, because he was heading up the Justice Department at the time, they helped them. They helped them diddle children. And as I've told you, I said this 4 or 5 years ago, you can gob off all you want. And you can gnash your teeth in impotent rage and say, surely they'll do this. What have I been telling you for 5 years? It is true. Read the book. Read the book. It's true. Keir Starmer helped them. Howard, I'm telling you, you can gnash your teeth all you like. But they helped them do it. It went on for 20 years. Even the Wikipedia will tell you. In fact, I'm gonna look that up. Just to show you what I'm talking about. Here we are. Look at this. So, let's zoom in so you can see what I'm on about here. The data on here. I've read it. There we are. At least 1,400 girls were abused by gangs of foreigners between 1997 and 2013. And that's on Wikipedia. So that's the censored version. It's probably about 10,000 girls, and it's probably from about the 80s to about 2015. They helped them. So you can say, like our man there, Howard, oh no, it can't be true. It's on Wikipedia. So that's the censored left-wing version. At least 1,500 kids between at least 1997 and 2013. Keir Starmer helped them get away with it. They said, Mr. Starmer, we've got reports that swarthy foreign gentlemen are rogering children above dirty kebab shops. And he said, we can't let this get out. I'm not being hyperbolic. I'm being as like rational and logical as I can be. I'm not going to like joke about it and be like, oh yeah, he was a nice one. Yeah, roger them all. That's not what happened. But he did say, right, the system's going to collapse. The plan's going to go tits up if we let people know about this, because then they'll blame it on foreigners and it'll mess our system up. So we need to cover it up. That's what he said, and that's what he did. Yeah, I was going to joke about him and be like, he was like, oh, nice one, Roger in a bubble kebab shop, hoofing. That's not what happened. But they did cover it up on purpose because they didn't want to ruin the project, the George Soros project, the Klaus Schwab project, the neoliberal, woke, sociopath, globalist, lunatic project. That's what they did. So yeah, they didn't like actively, Keir Starmer wasn't thumbing one in as well, but they helped them cover it up. They knew about it and they covered it up for decades. That's what happened. So you can put your fingers in your ears and deny it all you like, but that's what happened. Jack used to watch the channel for laughs. Now he wants to cry. Well, this is the thing, right? So let's get back on message. Basically, you can laugh at almost anything. Alexander Solzhenitsyn didn't lose his sense of humour when he was in the gulag. So I keep telling everybody, I think I could laugh as the world burns down around me. Nothing will unman me. I can take it. It's funny how ludicrous the world is. It is amusing to me. It's funny that scaffolders from Hartlepool are represented by Laurie Penny. That is hilarious. That is like comedy gold that's happening. So you don't get miserable about it. You just laugh. Like, that is hilarious. When they basically go, and now we'll cut to Laurie Penny to see what the people think. That's funny. That's funny. She even talks like fucking Jacob Rees-Mogg or something. It's hilarious to me. So you don't get upset about it. You just find it comically amusing, as always. But what you do is you make sure that you take measured steps to protect yourself. And this is what I'm saying. You can laugh as long as your kids aren't getting fingered. And I'm assuming everybody that watches my channel isn't. That's not happening. My mate Dave, typical borough lad, well, he's from Redcar, his kids are very, how could I put it? Risk averse. I.e., his 21-year-old daughter is not going to go out with the bloke off Captain Phillips. She's not going to walk through Birmingham at 11 o'clock at night with a short skirt on. If you take measured steps, you bring up your children and you look after your children to the point where you can laugh at it because they're not getting folded up above a kebab shop. So it is funny because it ain't my children and it ain't my friends' children. So you can laugh about it. You don't get massively personal about it when you look after your own state of affairs. And as I told you, no matter how bad it gets, I'll still be all right. I train, I keep fit, I save my money, I live very, very Spartan existence. I very rarely eat out. I save my cash, I invest. I live a very, very Spartan lifestyle. So I can laugh almost, no matter how bad it gets, there's going to be millions and millions of people above me in the ladder that are getting gobbled up by this system and just plunged into a life of misery and despair. So if you're sensible and you're switched on, you can immunise yourself against the absolute worst of it. As I told you lot, doing actually going out and throwing bricks at the coppers is stupid. Like, you know you're going to get stitched up. So you shouldn't do it. But what you do is you're very, very vocal about this stuff and you tell your friends and your family and your children and your nephews and your aunts and your uncles, vote for the right-wing guy. Right, that's what you do. And you use every tool at your disposal to get the message out, but you don't give in to despair and you don't, lose the plot and start bricking coppers because it's ludicrous and stupid. As I said, you've got to be sensible, haven't you? You've got to be sensible. It's not hard. I suppose, we were actually talking about this yesterday. No matter how little money I've earned in my life, I haven't had a red bank balance for about 20 years. Like, I always save it. Like, I could be making minimum wage and I'd still have money in the bank because I'd live like an absolute jipe for like weeks until I had money in the bank. I only go for a drink when I've got at least 4 figures in the bank. I only go to a restaurant when I've got at least 4 figures in the bank. If I haven't got 4 figures in the bank, I'm literally drinking tap water and eating porridge and spam until I've got the 4 figures in the bank. Like, if you're Spartan and stoic and live like screw the nut as aggressively as you can, you'll almost always be all right. So you have to embrace that mindset. And as I said, I'm not a motivational speaker. I leave that for people like Chris Raw, but I live it. I stay mega fit. I live mega frugally. And I look after myself. And if you do that, you can immunise yourself against almost anything. It's terrible what's gone on because the people that haven't got that mindset fall by the wayside. There's people now struggling. They can't eat. They can't feed the kids. They can't fill the car up because of the policies of the woke. But some element of it is their fault because they should be screwing the nut and living like I do. Water. Don't go out to eat. Go to the gym. When you've got time off, go for a walk. Like, you have to embrace that mindset. So it's 50-50, isn't it? I do feel bad for them. But Jordan Peterson's message is the same. We talk about it because we want to look after the little guys, but really it doesn't affect me that much because I'm stoic and I live a very Spartan lifestyle to make sure that I'm all right. So when I'm talking about this stuff, it's not really affecting me that badly. It's affecting people who haven't got that mindset. But I'm telling you, as one of my listeners, I'm trying to encourage you. Live the lifestyle, live it and breathe it, enjoy it. If you can convince yourself that sweeping streets is fun, then you're the happiest street sweeper in the world if that's your job. You've got to embrace that lifestyle. It's reframing it in your brain. If you really try, you can reframe stuff. And I'm lucky enough because I've always been able to do it. I quite liked it in Afghanistan. I remember being out there and thinking, always thinking, it's not that bad. I was like, I'm saving me money. I'm staying sober. I'm keeping mega fit. I'm doing loads of fizz. Even little things, I thought, brush my teeth twice a day when I'm in Afghanistan. I don't do that when I'm at home. I sort of let things slide a little bit. If I go out for a drink or something. If you reframe it in your brain, you can enjoy almost anything. And I'm telling you, you should try and live a lifestyle where you view it as a fun challenge to not eat out or a fun challenge to not drink pop and just have water or tea. Like, if you can reframe it in your brain and treat yourself to a Jaffa cake every now and then, right? You can have Jaffa cakes every now and then, Kitty Roo. You don't have to totally deny yourself. But if you can reframe it in your brain, you can deal with almost anything life throws at you. And then you can be vocal about the ludicrous commie gibberish that we hear every day. Anyway, I'm going to stop talking about that. I'm not a motivational speaker. I think it's cringe and annoying when people kick the arse out of it. I'd love to be a prepper, but I don't have the space to hoard the tins. If you really try, you'll have space somewhere. You can at least get 6 months worth of shite in your house somewhere. Like, even when I was in a 1-bedroom flat, I could hoard. You put it under your bed. You could probably fit 200 tins under your bed or something. Like, you can hoard if you try. As I said, view it as a challenge, and you can do it. Anyway, I'm going to bugger off soon. I've nearly been here an hour ranting, and I still haven't covered the Notting Hill Carnival. Let me just quickly go through the Notting Hill Carnival for those of you that aren't aware. Foreigners, probably. Right? It's funny to talk about. The Notting Hill Carnival is... Well, I'm going to read you the BBC version, and I'm going to tell you the actual version. All right? The Notting Hill Carnival is back for another year. The London Carnival, which has been going on for more than 50 years, is one of the biggest and longest running street parties in the world. It's an opportunity for people from the UK and beyond to come together and celebrate Caribbean heritage, arts and culture, and finger the police women. That's it. It's brilliant. Every summer, 2 million woke, shit for brains, Guardian reading lunatics attend, and they watch absolute savagery. There's nothing good about it. If you want to go to the Notting Hill Carnival, you knock yourself out, lads. But I'm telling you, the 1,111 people in this chat, do yourself a favour. Get some tins in. Treat yourself on a Saturday night. Have a drink. Have a laugh with your friends. And piss yourself laughing when you see the inevitable stories come out on Monday that a bunch of third world illiterates that we for some reason let into the UK because we're not represented, and the people running the show do the exact opposite of what you want them to do. Like I keep telling you, the exact opposite. If you asked 100 window cleaners, should we let 1,000 Somalian blokes move to London, 999 of them would say no. Don't want them, don't need them, don't get anything out of it. No. But you're getting them anyway because you're not represented, as I keep telling you. Why do we put up with it? Because we are too soft. We shouldn't, but that's the way it is. So, as I said, it's hilarious to me that they get people like Laurie Penny to talk for the plumbers from Hartlepool, but that's the world we live in. Don't go anywhere near the Notting Hill Carnival. It's not a celebration of Caribbean heritage. It is police women getting diddled, teenage girls getting forcibly dragged up an alley and rogered like a copper's radio for the pleasure of a sweating illiterate foreigner. Don't go anywhere near the Notting Hill Carnival. Mark my words, I'm telling you this at 11:50 a.m. PCT. on a Saturday morning. On Monday morning, there will have been at least a dozen stabbings, muggings, surprise sex. Can't say the R word. It's lunacy. So don't go. Mark my words. Tune in on Monday to the BBC and read about the chaos. And the rest of you, stay at home, have a few tins, call a loved one. Do that. Ring your brother. We English people are bad at bonding with our family. I loved hanging out with my brother. I'd never tell him to his face, but I loved hanging out with him when I did it recently. Call a loved one. Ring your dad and say, "Hey, Dad, have you seen what's going on at the Notting Hill Carnival?" And have a can and howl laughing at the stupid, gibbering simpletons that go who read The Guardian and nip down to the Notting Hill Carnival and promptly get a callous digit jammed forcibly between the piss flaps when they were least expecting it. That's what you're going to get at the Notting Hill Carnival. So ladies, plenty of female followers, the Angry Bootneck. Ladies, don't go to the Notting Hill Carnival. I'd rather take my chances jogging through a park in Birmingham at 11 o'clock at night. Don't go. Have a can. Call a loved one. Maybe play a board game with a friend. Whatever you want. But don't go to the Notting Hill Carnival. And you're welcome. You're welcome. I'm doing you a solid. Kate's going. She's off. Yeah, Kate's like, get in. What? A foreign man with fingers like fucking sausage rolls is going to mash his hand down my cream crackers. Get in. Nice one. Yeah, so I like to move it. Brilliant. 10, there'll have been way more than 10. 10 you found out about, probably about 200. So there we go. We'll call it there. I'm going to go and have my breakfast with my mate, and then we're going to go out on the piss all day because that's what I like to do when I treat myself every now and then. All right. Thanks for tuning in, ladies and gentlemen. Please like and share some of my videos. You know, I might have outlived my nemesis. There's one down. Now I just need Owen Jones to shuffle off this mortal coil, and I've got both of my nemesis outlived. So fingers crossed I beat Owen. But yeah, I'm loving life. Porridge Face has lost the argument, but I'm still getting silenced and deleting my subscribers and taking the piss. And obviously, we all know that I should have at least twice as many subscribers as I do, because I'm not trying to be big-headed, but some of the shite on YouTube, and they've got 500,000 subscribers. Obviously, Suzar's minions are still taking the piss. So please like and share, and if you can be asked, and I will see you all tomorrow. I'm going on Rags' podcast tomorrow. I'll probably be hungover, but I'll be there. So tune in for that tomorrow. I think it's at the same time, right? Rags, let them know. And yeah, have a good Saturday night. Enjoy yourselves. Split your sides, laughing at the chaos on the news on Monday. And I'll see you all very soon, all right? Thanks for tuning in. Toodle pip. Cheers. See you tomorrow. Take it easy.